So let's continue. Next hand, 7-10 off. Just gonna fold here. Don't want to get too. I mean, you could raise for sure in this spot. It's blind on blind. Could take it as a raise fold spot. I wouldn't imagine 4-bet shoving over this particular opponent. Don't have any reads on him. So hands open here would be like sort of a king X hand, queen X, of course ace X, probably jack X. You know, sometimes I am opening any two here, just given that, you know, we have an alright stack here. Don't want to get into too much trouble here out of position, so just go ahead and fold. But as I said, I don't think there's anything wrong in making it about 2.5x small blind to big blind, something like 1900 or, oh yeah, 1950 is fine. 8-4 suited, probably would have opened here because we have the button, but Chorizo decides to open it. Not a bad spot to 3-bet light again. He's either shoving or folding on us. I don't really think he's ever calling. The stacks behind us are, 30 big blinds plus as well, so it's a decent spot to do it with. And again, we have the power of position with the button as well. But I do go ahead and fold. All in under the gun, just going to fold jack 8. Going to fold 7-3. Deuces under the gun +1. I don't mind opening here because the small blind's pretty short. There's no one that we have to call other than him if they move all in. Everyone else is pretty deep here, sort of 30 big blinds. So I don't mind an open here. We've been pretty tight for a few hands now, so should get respect. But under the gun decides to open on just below 20 bigs. And I don't think you don't have the odds here to be flatting with pocket deuces. So I'll just go ahead and fold here. And it's not a hand that you want to be playing for stacks with, particularly versus an undergun raise who's less than 20 bigs. And I think the Saluki is a good player. I've played with him before. I think I did have notes on him. As I said, I'm doing this recording about 3 weeks after this actual run. So, and of course the notes don't actually show up in the recording as well, within the hand replayer. So, just through memory, I think he is a decent player. So, we're going to give up pocket deuces anyway. So, to see how this hand plays out if we get to showdown. Wow, he check shoved ace-4 here, so he was opening fairly light under the gun. He gets it in with a straight draw. Bit of an odd call here by pocket eights pre-flop. I mean, I would think you'd either want to put the guy in or fold, depending on the read you have on him. But he did decide to flat and get it in on this flop, and he does get there with the straight. So make a note of that he's quite aggressive under the gun. I guess his stack size doesn't really make a difference to his opening range. He's less than 20 there, he's opening a weak ace. Maybe just taking a spot. It does look obviously very strong. It looked very strong to me, with my pocket deuces fold. And just got to make a note of, this guy could be potentially a lag opponent, and play accordingly against him. Next hand we pick up ace-king offsuit, and obviously going to be opening here at 2.1x, which is fine, and we get a walk. Jack 6 in the big. Okay. Yeah, just my aggressive instincts is coming out here, I think. blind on blind. You know, I don't like being bullied by. You know, this guy's range is obviously very wide. He's, you know, it's folded to him. He's only got one person to beat. Our stack is too big to just jam pre-flop. Our hand is really irrelevant, I think, at this point. Uh, by just three betting here, you know, you're just setting up a dynamic with him, just telling him, letting him know, you know, you can't overrun me. Um, and you're obviously taking this as a three bet fold spot. Obviously, if he clicks it back or shoves it on us, then we're not exactly calling off with Jack six. But you know, if he does decide to fold, then you know it's a good addition to our stack, and it does work. So those are spots that you know I think I've really improved on lately. In 2012, just kind of picking up on things like that. Yes, they aren't always going to work, but it's a good way to keep your stack sort of you know above average and just you know so you don't keep dropping down below sort of 20 bigs. Looking for spots like that, and that's a spot I like to take quite a bit. So 7 deuce just gonna fold. I think as this tournament goes on, it's you know it's more interesting to see what these people are three betting and calling with. So it does give us a bit of a read, maybe you know in hands that we play against them. Didn't actually get to see their whole cards there. I think I imagine Callan Poker was pretty strong there, the way it was played out. 4 deuce folded to us on the big blind on the button. I like an open here. These two you know 30 big blinds plus. Just you know keeping with the whole aggression thing, keeping the pressure on. We got position. We have a raggy hand, but you know hopefully we just take down the blinds and antes here. So yeah, I do go ahead and raise 2.1x, and it gets through, which is nice. I do like an open here as well. You know, keeping up the aggression. You know, raising 2 hands in a row does look strong. Only thing is like the big blind, you know, he's got quite a bit of chips, you know. As I said in earlier spots, when at the 250, 500 level, you know, we had a similar situation where this guy was on like 40k or something. You know, I folded in similar spot like this because I had a feeling he was going to defend light. This guy, I haven't really seen him do much, so it does look like a bit of a good spot to open. But I don't take it this time, which is fine. You know, you can take one off, just again go with the game flow, keep them guessing. Because you know you want to be aggressive, but not like overly so, where they're kind of thinking, right, this guy, you know, he's just taking the piss. He's raising every hand. You know, you know, in that respect, you know, you can be very easy to play back at. So it's just important to balance really when you're opening and stuff, and again, not taking every spot that's presented to you. Pocket sixes, definitely opening here. Guys on the big blind, it's got like 1 big. And we'll obviously reassess if anything happens a bit further along. Yeah, we get 3 bet. I mean, it was coming. We've raised 2 out of the last 3 hands. This looks... I mean... he could be quite strong here, considering, you know, you know, he's got to know that this guy surely is going all in, which he didn't actually do, funnily enough. Maybe he was sitting out, I'm not sure. But he's got to know that by 3 betting here, this guy's going to call. So if I do fold, then everyone's going to see his hand and what he's 3 betting here with. Now that's come back to me, you know, he's literally clicked it back on me. He's left with 25 bigs after his 3 bet, and I've started the hand with just about 30, 35 bigs. So I don't really like. I mean, I think you could call here. You're getting decent odds, but I just feel as though most of the time we're going to be check folding on the flop. So you know, it's probably better to just give it up here. Um, of course, if we were deeper, I would definitely call. But just because this guy hasn't really got our line against me yet, there's no reason to believe that he's not strong here. Arguments could be made for the other side of the coin where, he can see that this person's short and he might think that I'm just picking on him because he's short. I'm raising pretty much any two because Dayton has to call with pretty much his entire range. So, you could think that as well. But it's just hard to know in a small sample what this particular guy's doing. But I do give it up and just give him a bit of respect and move on to the next hand. Do 6. Pocket queens, always very nice. It looks like we've been pretty aggressive to the whole table so far. Within the last 6 hands, we've raised 3 of them. This is going to be the 4th. So make it 2.1, which is fine. And we get a walk. Well, the entire table decides to not tangle with us, which is... You want action when you get a hand like queens there, of course. You want someone to play back at you. So I've got ace-8 offsuit in the big blind. Just by looking at this situation, as far as I can remember, it looks like if it's folded to me, it does look like a shove because this guy's got just under 25 bigs here. He's opening the button. He has shown a propensity to open the button. As you remember, I had king deuce and he opened that time as well. With a hand that I think is ahead of his range, I think we're just shoving on him and gonna take his 1800 chips. Thank you very much, and we do, which is good. I like that we did that, and he does fold. So we're up to 30k. Oh, in that last hand, I really don't like anything other than... I mean, you could 3-bet induce if you think he's opening and 4-betting you that light, then certainly do that. But I just think by shoving here, it's definitely the best play. I don't like calling at all because he's getting short and it's a good steal position for him to make for sure against 2 opponents who he doesn't have to call off against. So yeah, jamming definitely there is probably the best option. So folds to us, 6-10 offsuit. I've given this guy 2 walks now. A little bit surprised I didn't open here, just to kind of test him out a bit. So I gained 1900 or something. Probably because, I just shoved the hand before, again, going with a bit of game flow, not being overly aggressive every single hand. So it's just fine. It is fine to fold it, of course, as standard play. But I would like to maybe see an open, and I hope if it's folded to me again in a similar situation that I do open over Callan, just to let him know. Obviously, we're not going to let him walk every single time, but that's fine. We're shy of 40 bigs now, which is good. A good point to be in at this stage in the tournament. Well, actually, I say that the blinds have gone up to 501k, so again 30 bigs. It folds to us. We've got Jack 4 offsuit, a raggy hand. I do like this open spot. Again, similar to the hand rush I opened, I think it was 4 deuce. This guy did 3-bet me that time, if you remember, when I opened with pocket 6s. I do decide to fold. I mean, that's fine. I could open there for sure. But I decided to just give him just a fold there. It's fine. Short stack here opens on 17 bigs to 3k. Can't do much with 6-4. Ace Jack and Ace 6. Wow. Puts him in with Ace 6 now. That's pretty bit loose, I would say. Gets to an early position raise. Ace Jack holds. Fold the King 5. Could have been a good spot to open. This guy's obviously just lost his chips and he's probably going to shove most of his range here, so